Today we will discuss about choice. If you want to implement multiple decisions, multiple decisions, we will go with a choice. Okay. So now we will see how to work with a choice and how to implement a choice. Now, in above example, if you observe here, see this, we have salaries 2000, and then salary greater than 1000 and so less than 3000, and then salary greater than 3000, salary less than 4000. If you have the conditions like this more than one, then we have to go for choice. We'll have choice as well as otherwise. If any condition, if it is meeting that criteria, choice criteria, then it will go to that particular choice. Then if any record, if it is not meeting that condition criteria, then it will come to otherwise. Always, every time when you are implementing choice, you will have two things. One is choice, another one is otherwise. Just a minute, just give me a moment. For example, in last class, we discussed with a collection. So when you are working with a collection, we have n number of records. Assume that we have 4 to 5 records is there. In the 4 to 5 records, suppose if you have 4 records, in 4 records we need to implement some different conditions. Based on the condition, it has to pick the thing. For example, assume that we have a values like this: ID, name, and salary, and ID will be 1, and name busy, and salary 3000. 2, D, and then salary 5000, and then 3, and then salary will be 9000, and then 4, some name, and then salary will be, assume that 12,000. Okay, so we have these many records. Assume we have 4 records here. Now your conditions will be, if salary is less than 4000, then it will be 0% tax, and if your salary is greater than 4000 and less than 6000, then it will be 10% tax. If your salary is greater than 10,000, then it will be 20% tax. Okay, now how many condition criteria we have here? 3, right? If you observe the records, we have 4 records. Observe this: salary less than 4000, the first record will come into this criteria. And what about the second record? Second record will come into this criteria: greater than 4000 and less than 6000. And what about this record? Is it goes to any of these condition? No. Is it belongs to any of this condition? No, right? And what about this one? This last row, it will belongs to this condition. But what is going to be happen for this? It will otherwise it will go to otherwise. It means it will not do anything for that. It will skip that because that condition is not meeting that criteria. So like this we are going to implement. So here, how many conditions we are implementing? More than one, right? More than one condition we are implementing. If you have more than one conditions, we can go for choice blindly. Okay, so now we'll see so how to work with a choice. Come to BluePrism one and open our folder, right click, create a process and choice. Next, finish. Now the process has been created. Just double click on that to open the process. Now we have a start by default, end. Now we need to work with same scenario. We need to calculate a tax based on your salaries. That is our requirement. For that we need a values in collection. So we need to create a collection here. Collection. Double click on collection. You can give the name as collection name as EMP, and then how many fields you required. It means how many columns. ID, name and salary. And what about the data type? Number, name is text, again salary is number. Now initial values, how many records you required, how many rows we need. So we need 4. Now 1 2 3 4. Name, you can give anything. Now salaries around 4,000, another one is 6,000. Okay, this is 3,000 I think, right? Let's say 3,000, 6,000 and then 9,000 and then 4,000. So now we have these many 4 records we have. Now click OK on this. Now what it says, the collection says that we have 1 of 4, row 1 of 4. It means we have total number of 4 records we have. When we are implementing collection, what we need to do, blindly we have to go for a loop, right? Now use a loop. Loop will have loop start, loop end will be there by default. Double click on loop start and then condition collection. Observe this, loop start we need to give the collection name. Click on that collection name and click OK. Automatically this loop will understand that. So these many number of times it has to go for a loop. How many records we have here? 4 records. It will go for a loop for 4 times. Okay. Now in between, what is our requirement? We need to calculate tax based on the conditions, right? So we have to go for choice. We need to implement multiple conditions, then we have to go for choice. See this choice, otherwise. By default, when you pull choice shape into your workspace, by default you will get choice and otherwise. Double click on choice. Observe this choice name. How many conditions you required? 3 we created. So there is no limit, we can create n number of conditions. Now choice name 0%. Let's take 0%. This one. Let's take 10%. And then this one. Let's take 20%. These are the choice names. And then what will be the choice criteria? It means condition. Here, if you click on, if you know how to type, you can type it. Otherwise, you can click on the editor, expression editor, and you will have logic. Observe this, you will have a logic. So if salary less than 3,000, less than 4,000, right? So less than. Observe this. Here it will give you the description how to implement this. Go to the collection, emp.salary less than 4,000. This is our condition, right? See this, how they are implementing the condition. Same way, paste it. Now this is your condition, less than 4,000. Here it's not. Okay. Now click OK. Now another condition will be and greater than 4,000 and less than 6,000. Come to this again. If you want, go to expression, go to logic, and conditions we need to implement. Observe this how they implemented a and condition here. This is the syntax how to implement. Same thing. Come to salary greater than 4,000. Again your salary less than 6,000. Paste it. Now the condition has been created. Always remember, once you created a condition, click on a validate button. It should be valid. That's the best practice. And then another condition will be salary greater than 10,000 or 9,000, whatever it may be. Now we have implemented three conditions right here inside the choice. Now we are going to click on OK. Now observe what is happening here for choice. Click OK. See this? 1, 2, 3. Three decisions inside the choice, right? Three decisions we have. Now, so how to work with the decision? This one for 0%, this one for 10%, this one for 20%. If any condition is not belongs to these conditions, these criteria, then it will go to otherwise. Now come to calculation, because we need to implement a calculation for this condition, and just we have decided so what is the percentage of tax, but so we need to calculate the percentage. How you will calculate? If your tax is 0%, salary into 0, then it will be 0%, right? The same way, if your tax is 10%, salary into 0.10, you can do like this, right? The same calculations we will implement here. We will give the condition. Now again we need to implement calculation. Again we need to implement calculation. Now give the link. Observe this, what it says: 0%, 10%, 20%. Okay. Here one question. We'll just give the links to each and everything. Okay. We are implementing three calculations here, right? Instead of implementing three calculations, can we go for multi-calculation here? If you go with multi-calculation, what is going to be happen? We will discuss. So after this, okay. No, so it's not possible to implement multi-calculation here. So we'll discuss. So why we can't able to go with multi-calculation? Okay. Now here, double click on calculation. We need to calculate tax. Okay. So before that, do you have a tax column in the collection? No. Our requirement is we need to calculate a tax and we need to write it back to your collection. So let me create another column, tax, and then number. Okay, now double click. Observe this. Do you have a tax values here? No, right? We need to calculate the tax by this process, and then again we are going to load the tax value into this collection back. We are writing back to the collection. We are picking the values from the collection. Again we are writing back to the same collection for the tax. That is possible. Now we will see that how to do that. Double click on calculation. Now salary into 0 for 0%. Salary 0. So this is for 0% tax. And then where you need to store? In tax. We need to store this result in tax for the first one. So what it will do, loop, record by record it will process, right? When it is coming record by record, for that record it will calculate a tax, and then it will load the value into that specific collection. Salary into again 0.10. Come to the tax. Again load it into tax. Again calculate for the next record 20%. Again salary to 0.20 multiply. Okay. Now this one result, store it into tax. Now it's done, right? each and every condition we are calculating a tax. Okay, is that flow is completed now? Just observe. Just pick one record from EMP. For example, let's take 4000 or 3000. 3000 will come, it will start, process will start, it will go to the loop, it will pick the 3000 first row, and then it will come to this choice where it will go 3000, it will go to 0%. In the 0%, it will calculate the tax for 0%, and then it will load that result in your collection. Okay, what about the next record? How it will go to the next record now? Right, one, it will calculate here. After this, what it will do? It has to go for a loop, right? It has to go for the next record. So that's why each and everywhere, so we need to end it with a loop, end the shape with a loop. So we have to do like this, loop. Okay, now the flow looks confused, right? If you observe this, so sometimes we can't able to understand the flow properly. So from why it is going here and then why it is coming here, where it is, where and all it is going, right? So it looks like a mess. To overcome this, we have an option called Note and Anchor. Note and Anchor. These are the two different shapes, Note as well as Anchor. Remember, both this Note and Anchor functionality will be the same. Just to connect shapes, we will use this Note and Anchor. Just to connect the shapes we will use. Other than that, we don't have so any functionality inside the Note and Anchor. But if you just to connect the shapes, why we will use two things? Why we need Note as well as Anchor? Right? What is the difference between these two things? Note, you can give some information. It means like a comment in your programming languages. Any programming language you will comment, right? Because what we are doing in the next line. So what we are doing. The same way here in a note, we can give some information like what we are doing here. It will be like that. An anchor, we can't able to give any information. That's the difference between note and anchor. Now just observe. So how to implement a note and anchor? First we will go with the anchor. See this? This is your anchor shape and this is your note shape. Anchor and note. Now use anchor now. Again use anchor. Now observe this, what I am doing. See this? Just to connect the flows, we are going to use note and anchor. Now the flow looks good, right? So you can able to understand from where to where it is going, and then so where it is going to the loop end. All these things going to loop end, right? But so when another person, if they saw this particular process, they have to understand why you are doing this. Then instead of so using anchor, you can use a note here, and then you can give some information that why we are implementing this. Note you can use anywhere. Before starting the process also you can able to implement after the start. We can tell that so we are implementing calculation or we are implementing tax in this process. For example, just observe this, how to work with a note. Use note instead of anchor. Let me delete this one. Now we have a note here. Give the link. We can give the information just to connect all conditions to loop. We can give information like this. Then so you can able to see this. What is the information you can able to see here? It is giving the information that just to connect the shapes, so we are using this particular node. So you can give the same node. So before starting also anywhere you can able to give this node. So just to understand, see this, here also we can give and then give the link from the start to note to this one. Here you can give the note like to implement to calculate tax for all records. Now click OK. Now observe this. By seeing this, we can able to understand why we are doing this. Just to pass the information, just to give the information, we are going to use a note, and then we can able to use a note to connect the flows, also connect the shapes. That is the purpose of anchor and then note. What is the difference between anchor and then note? Some interviews they will ask, what is the difference between anchor and note? The difference is, in anchor you can't able to give any specific statements like a comment, but in note you can give some information or you can give some comment in a note, but not possible in anchor. The purpose is same, both the purpose is just to connect the shapes we are going to use. Okay, now double click on this one. Do you have a tax here? No. What is initial and what is current values? Initial value is before running the process, current value is after running the process, right? Okay, now we don't have tax here. Okay, let me run this process and then we will see the result here. Now the complete process has been completed. Now we will reset. We don't have any errors, so now we are running this process. Just click on run. Observe this. For the first condition it went right for 0%. Okay, it picked second record. Observe this record here in the collection, second record. Now it's picked third record. It goes to the otherwise, it went to otherwise third record, and then fourth record it went to the third condition 20%, right? Okay, now it's completed. Good. Now just double click on the collection, come to the current value. Observe this. Here we have two things, it went to the otherwise. Two things, tax. Observe this, 6,000 and 9,000. These for 0%, these for 20%. So here this condition also, this record also not met the condition 6,000 and then 9,000. So let me change the condition here. See this, less than 6,000, and then this one is greater than 10,000. So this one instead of 6,000 less than 6,500, then it will work now. Now reset. Now again run this. Now one record it has to go to otherwise, remaining record it has to go to the condition. Okay, now double click on this. Now observe this, only one record it's went to otherwise, remaining all these things it's calculated. So this is for 0%, this for 10% tax, this is for 20% tax. Like this we can able to implement based on the conditions, we can able to implement a loop. So what we have done in this process, we calculated a tax based on the input records. For that we implemented a loop because the records were there in the collection, so we have more than one record, so that's why we have go for loop. When we are using collection means we have to go for loop, and then after that we need to implement a conditions. Here more than one condition we have, so we have, that's why we went to choice, and then in the choice again, so we are implementing So calculations. Okay. So now question is, why we can't able to implement multi calculation here instead of this one? So we are implementing three calculations shapes. Instead of that, when you are implementing more than one calculation shape, we can go for multi calculation. It will implement, right? Why we can't able to do it here? For example, if you observe multi calculation, we are using multi calculation. Assume that, and we are going to give the link from these decisions. Now 0% it will hit the multi calculation, 10% it will hit the multi calculation, 20% also it will hit the multi calculation if any condition it comes to 10 or 20 or 10, 0, right? Now if you double click on multi calculation, what is the purpose of multi calculation? If you have like four type of expression or 3 to 4 expressions here, whatever the conditions you are going to give, based on that condition, it will implement all together at the same time, right? For example, 0% it will hit multi calculation, and it will implement all the records with 0% tax. And next, if it is hitting for 10% next record, it will override all these things, and then it will give the values for only 10%. And then again when it is coming to the 20%, again it will overwrite every value, right? Which one it will hit last, you will get the result for the last one, but not for the previous things. That's why we are not going to implement we can't able to implement multi calculation in this scenario. So it's purely so based on your requirement you are going to use that. Now in this scenario we can't able to give, because each and every calculation is individual and it has to pick the values. That's why. Okay. So now this is about how to work with the choice and how to work with a loop and then more than one conditions. Okay, right. Let me save this. Save. Now I will work with page concept, pages. Here if you observe, in this process the flow will become very big, right? So if you want to implement some other things also, then the flow will become very big. Instead of that, we can able to split the process, like first process 1, next process 2, next process. Say for example, assume that when you are filling any details in any application portal like insurance or anything, first page your personal details, second page your nominee details, third page your billing details will be there, right? Page by page, page after page. The same way we can able to work with a page concepts here, one after another, like a sequence. Okay, here just so observe this, what you can able to see here, main page, right? Every process you will have one main page. Okay, we'll discuss about this. When you are working with, so when suppose assume that you are writing something in a notes. When you are writing something in notes, once one page is completed, then what you are going to do? You will go to the next page, right? If the next page is also completed, you will go to the another page, right? The page after page, once is completed another page. So that is the, so here every process will have one main page. Remember, every process will have one main page, and it can have n number of sub pages. There is no limit, n number of sub pages. For example, you will have one main page and then you will have a sub pages p1, p2, and then p3, and then so on. There is no limit, you can create n number of pages. Okay, each and every page you will have a process. Like each and every page, when you are writing something, you will have some data, right? You will write something. The same way in a main page also you will have a process, in p1 also you will have a process, in p2 also you will have a process. When you have this like this, okay, suppose assume that you are in page 3. If you are in page 3, if you want to run the page 3 process, then it is not going to trigger exactly in the page 3. Always any process will start in main page and it will end in main page only. Every time it will start in a main page, it will end in a main page. If you are in P2, it will start in P2, and then if you run the process, it will start in a main page, it will end in a main page. Suppose if you are in P3 also, it will start in a main, it will end in a main page. But how to run a page 3? How to run page 2? So here we need to create a references to the pages. It's like just like indexes in your textbook. If you want to go for a specific page, you will have a indexes, right? The same way here, we are going to create a references in your main page for the pages. Here in main page, you can give n number of reference pages, n number of reference pages. There is no limit. You can create n number of reference pages, and at the same time the same page you can call n number of times as a reference in your main page. Same page, it n number of times you can able to call. It means, for example, so you are calling P1 first, after that so you are giving reference to P2, after that again you can able to give it to P1, again after that you can able to give it to P3, again if you call P1. It means n number of times the same page you can call n number of times, and then n number of pages you can call it in a main page. There is no limit. And one more thing, now coming to the sub pages. These sub pages we can call it as a child pages also. Don't get confused. Some persons will call it as a main page, as a parent page, the sub pages as a child pages. When you are working with sub pages, you can call any of your sub pages in a sub page. Any of your sub pages in a sub page, but not your main page. Remember this. You can't able to call your main page in your sub pages. But in main page you can call all your sub pages, but in sub pages you can't able to call your main page. It means, so simply we can say that in simple terms, in child pages you can't able to call your parent page, but in parent page you can able to call your child pages. Okay, so now we'll see so how to work with a page concept, how to create a pages, and how to work with pages, and how to create a references to the pages. Now come to this program. Let me create a process, pages. Next, double click on a process. Now observe this, what you can able to see, main page. We have one main page, right? Now to create sub pages we have two approaches. One is right click and create a new. See this, what it is asking, enter a page name, let it be page 1. Page is created. Again you can right click, create, so page 2 is created. This is one way to create a pages. Another way is just you have page shape here, drag and drop your page shape. Observe the last option, add new page without creating a reference to it. This is another option to create a page. For example, page 3, finish. Observe this, page 3 created, right? So we have two ways to create a pages. One is just right click and create, another one is drag and drop your page and then it will be created. Now each and every page we can able to create a process. Now this is one process. In page 1 we need to implement some calculation. Assume that. Double click. Want to store this in result. Okay. Now again in page 2, I will do some calculation. Double click and restore that in result. Okay. Now page 3, you can give like this. Let it be. Now we are in page 3, right? Observe this. Now we are in page 3. If you run this process, observe from where it is running. I will run it in slow mode. Observe this. It started in main page, it ended in main page. Every time if you are in any page, if you start a process, always it will start in a main page, it will end in a main page. It will start there and it will end there. But how to call this page 3? We need to run a page 3 now, or we need to run a page 2 now. Then we need to create a reference to that. Come to the main page. Now use this page. Observe this first option. What it says? Create a reference to an existing page. Click on that and then run this. Click next. Now what you can able to see? It's asking that. So for which page you need to create a reference? Do you want to create a reference for page 1 or page 2 or page 3? So let it be for page 1 first. Page 1, right? Now we have to give a link like this. Now reset. If you are in any of your page, if you run this, see this? It started, it called page 1. Page 1 is running now. Once the page 1 is completed, again it will go back to your main page. Now after the page 1, we need to run a page 2. Then come to this. Again create a reference. Page 2. Again from the page 1, page 2. Observe this, page 1 will run first. After that page 2 will run. After that is going to end. Now reset and then just click on this. Observe this. Page 1. Once the page 1 is completed, again it will go back to main page and then it will start the page 2. Again once the page 2 is completed, again it will go back to the main page and then it will end the process. Here we are calling the page 1 and page 2 in your main pages, right? But how to call sub pages in your sub page? Suppose you are in page 3 or page 2. When the page 2 is running, I need to run the page 3 within the page 2. Here we have given page 2, right? When the page 2 is running, it has to call page 3 as well. Now we are in page 2. Observe this. Create a reference. Now for which one? Page 3. Click on that. Now give the link. Now if you run this, what is going to happen? It will, in a page 2, when it is running page 2, internally it will run a page 3. And if you observe, now we are in page 2, right? In a sub page. If you drag and drop here, create a reference, can you able to see your main page? No, right? Because you can't able to create a reference to your main page. It means you can't able to call your main page in your sub pages. Okay. Now just run page 1 and then page 2. It will execute after this page 2. In page 2 what you have? Page 3 also we have. Now observe this. Now it will go to the page 3. Page 3 will trigger now. Yes, once the page 3 is completed, again it will go back to page 2 where it has been called, right? So this way, so we can able to create a processors. Okay, so in this, so sometimes in interviews they will ask the question like this: can you able to call page within the same page. Can you able to call page within the same page? Do you understood the question? Suppose if you are working in a page 2, again I need to call a same page. Is it possible or not? Yes, it is possible, but there is no use. So it will go to the continuous loop. It will keep on repeating. Now just observe this, how to work with that. Create a page P4. Page, we are in page P4. Again we need to call the same P4. Page, create a reference P4. Okay, now give the link. Understood, right? Page within the same page. Okay, if you want to run this page for, what you have to do, again we need to create a reference in a main page. Okay, now so just assume that when you are working with any project or any process, if you want to test any specific page, do you want to run it from the starting every time? If you want to test it, just if you want to test the page 4 now, we need to test a page 4 now, do you want to run it from the starting for each and everything? Why unnecessarily we have to, for example, assume that it will take 10 minutes or 20 minutes to run the previous process. After that, this page will run. We really want to wait for some time, that much of time? No, right? For this, if you want to run only specific things, we have an option called set next stage and run to this stage. Remember this, set next stage and run to this stage. This is a instructions to your process. Set next stage is nothing but your start. Remember, set next stage means start. Remember, run to this stage means end. Set next stage, it is giving the instruction to the process. You have to start from here, from this shape, and run to this stage. It will give the instructions to the process. You need to stop it here. You need to stop it here. After that, don't run. So it will be like that. Now our requirement is we need to start it from here. We don't want to run from the starting. It should not go. So if you run directly, every time it will go to the main page, right? So if you want to test it, so you don't want to run it from your main page. We want to run it from here, right? Just right click, observe this, set next stage, click on that. Now run this. See this? It's highlighted because we have given this for set next stage. It means it's a instructions to the process. It has to run from here. Now click on run. See this, from where it started? From here itself. It did that went to main page. And it is a continuous loop. See this? Again and again it will go for a loop. It will be like that, but there is no use. Just for the interview purpose, just understand, can we able to call page within the page or not? Yes, we can call. It will be a continuous loop. So now, so we'll remove this one. Okay, we will see the same option. Set next stage, we can able to set for any of your stage, not only for start. You can give like this also. See this, set next stage. You can click like this. From here you can start. See this, start. It started from here, right? And then again it will come back there and then it will end. Understood, right? Okay, again, so we have an option called run to this stage. For example, up to here it has to run and it has to stop up to page 3. See this, run to this stage. Set next stage is, remember, it is nothing but a start. Run to this stage, remember, it is nothing but an end. It has to end there. Now clicking on this, observe what is happening. Okay, we need to reset. Right click, run to this stage. Observe, it started, it will come up to there and then it will stop there. That is nothing but run to this stage. See this? After that, is it going back? Is it going forward? no, right? It stopped here. So there is nothing but run to this stage and set next. These two things, these two options we will use so for debugging your process. To debug your process, we will use set next stage and run to this stage processes. Okay, like this, we can able to create processes, a number of processes in different pages. So in the first main page, you need to implement one process. In the so page one, we need to implement another process. We can integrate all the process in a main page. We can call one after another. So that's the main intention behind the page concept. Here, okay. So we can have input parameters and output parameters. That is more important. We can able to call parameters and then we can able to give parameters. We can receive and then we can able to send the parameters to the some other process. We will see that in next class. So how to, so that it will take time, how to work with a input parameters and how to work with a output parameters. So this is the page concept. We'll start it here. Okay. So now, so what are the things we learned here in this today's class? So after with, just a minute, choice, right? So when you will go for choice, if you want to implement multiple conditions, multiple decisions, instead of implementing multiple decisions, we can go for choice. Choice always it will have choice and otherwise. Okay. If you want to work with this, we need a loop. Here we are going to calculate tax for this each and every record. Here we have decided a condition criteria for each and every record. Based on the condition criteria, we are implementing taxes here based on calculation, and then after the calculating the values taxes, again we are writing back to collection each and everything. After that all the records is completed, it will come to the loop and it will calculate. And what is the purpose of note and anchor here? Both the things just to connect the shapes we will use, but only the difference is in note we can give some text information like a comment information. We can give some information in a note why we are doing this, but in anchor you can't able to give any information. So this is about this choice. Okay. So now coming to this page concept. Page, you can able to create n number of subpages. There is no limit. Like this you can create n number of subpages. Every process will have one main page by default. Every process will have one main page by default. Can you able to delete the main page? Observe this. No, you can't able to delete your main page. But what about the subpages? You can't able to delete. Parent page you can't able to delete, but you can able to delete your child pages or subpages. Okay. In a main page you can able to call all your subpages as a reference. N number of times you can able to call. After p1 page 1 page 2, again you can able to call a page 1 again. Here there is no limit. You can call n number of times, n number of pages. And subpage, you can call any of your subpage but not your main pages, but not your main page you can't able to call. And you can call page within the same page, that is possible. And what is set next stage and what is run to this stage? Set next stage is it's a instructions to the process. It has to run from that specific stage. If you click on that, it will run it from here. If you start this, that is set next stage. And what about the run to this stage? The same thing. If you click on run to this stage, it will run up to here and then it will stop here. That is nothing but run to this stage is nothing but it's a instructions to the process. It has to run up to that particular stage. See this, it will run up to here and then it will stop. This is the so two things very important. We will, when you are working with debugging the process, we will use most of the time. Okay. So next class we will discuss so how to work with the parameters, how to so implement it. So just I will give small example. Okay. Okay, we will see that so how to work with a parameters in the next class. Okay, so let's see with can I explain choice. Okay, so what is the purpose of decision, Srividya? So decision is for any single condition, right? Any single condition we can go for decision. We will have two links, one is yes, another one is no. But when it is coming to the choice, if you have multiple conditions, for example here this is the records we have here. Observe this, how many conditions we have. Salary less than 4,000, it has to be 0% tax. Salary greater than 4,000 and less than 6,000, it should be 10% tax. And then salary greater than 10,000, it should be 20% tax. It means we have more than one conditions, then we have to go for choice. When you are working with a choice, so we need to create a condition criteria here in a choice. Let me open that one. Come to this choice. Observe this, double click on a choice. Here you need to give the condition names and then condition criteria here. This is the conditions, right? Three conditions like this. You can able to create n number of conditions here. When you are creating a conditions, you will get these small decisions here inside the choice, because we have more than one decision. So each and every decision, what will be the result? So we are going to implement the calculation, and then again we are storing the result in the same collection name. So like this we can able to so work with a choice. So is it clear? Choice always it will have choice and otherwise. Note, just we will give the information, just that's it, just to connect the shapes. And then observe this note, what is the information we have given. This information we have given here, that information you can able to see here. Observe this here, what is the information here we have given. Okay, can you explain me how and where specify a condition to execute 3 or 4 records? Okay, so here what we are doing here, when you are working with this, how many records we have here? 4 records, right? Automatically the loop will take how many records we have, those many number of times it will go for a loop. Basically the loop, the functionality is how many records we have, those many number of times by default it will go for a loop. And then within this you are implementing a condition here in a choice series. Double click on a choice here. Here we are implementing condition, which record it has to take for 0%, which record it has to take for 10%. Here we are giving the conditions here, right? The same way, if you give the conditions, based on these conditions it is going to pick the record. That's it. In the choice start stage we are giving the condition. Okay, if you use multi calculation, what will happen here? Multi calculation, it will execute all the expressions at the same time, right? Assume that one expression is for 10%, one expression is for 20%, one expression is for 30%. If you use that, see this, for example, if you give a link like this, for 0% it will calculate all the values, all the records, it will give only 0%. For 10% also, it will give all the values, it will override the taxes. For 20% also, it will override. Which one will hit last? That result you will get it. But here our requirement is individual record for individual calculation, right? So that's why we are not going to implement multi calculation here. It will not work. It will override all the values. Is it clear now? question is it clear? So still in confusion. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Any other questions from anyone?